Good afternoon and welcome to Don't You Know I've Had a Stroke with me, Mike Peters. And just to let you know, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so please do not swear, which will be difficult for my guest today because she's a potty mouth. So if you're watching, please say hi and let us know where you're from, because as you all know, I'm a global internet sensation. So what I'd like to say as well, because it's not just about stroke survivors, to me it's about inspirational people with a story. And so I'm going to bring on a dear friend of mine from years and years ago. And yes, she is old, but we'll discuss that. And it's Suzanne Cleary.
Hi, Mike. Now, don't be cheeky,
Hi,
right?
Suzanne.
Because I know that I am older, but I probably have the sort of well, I'm older, but I'm fun as well.
We'll come on to that, even the rude bits.
Oh, I'm going to really try not to swear.
Right, we'll start. Can you tell me who is Suzanne Cleary, please?
Oh, right. Well, I'm from the northeast of England, which is a really great place to live. It's a kind of place where it breeds quite strong people. I'm from a very matriarchal family where all the women were quite strong. And hopefully I'm carrying on that tradition. I'm the type of person who is sort of quite out there, and I'm quite open-minded. I'm also somebody who enjoys the company of other people, and you and me, Mike, have been friends for a long, long time, and became friends quite quickly when we joined a Swedish company, and you know, we've been friends ever since. I've had loads of different jobs. I originally was an interior designer. I worked for other Swedish companies. I've worked for interior design sort of type of job for Habitat, which was Terence Conran. I've managed shops. I've actually sort of worked for IKEA for a long time, 21 years, you and me, boy and man, and girl and woman. Sort of, like I say, went to Wales and sort of met you, and then came down with a bit of an illness, a bit like yourself, you know, struggled through that, and then decided to come home to the Northeast to open my own business, which wasn't a major success, but it just was put another sort of string to my bow. And then through family, actually started working on a television show here for a little while. And then I actually started working for the government a few years ago. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's obviously other things going on in there.
Can we just say, don't big it up, you're not an MP in the government, are you?
Yes, but I play a very important part in actually getting people to different countries. So I'm not supposed to say where I work for, but I actually do play a big part. But no, I'm not anybody really important in the government.
So
But I could have been. I could have been.
Of course, Stephen Albright is from Dayton, Ohio, and for you, that's in the United States, Susie.
All right, okay then. Yeah, right.
Because as I said, I'm a what? Global internet sensation.
National. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you keep telling us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned an illness. Tell me about it, please.
Yes. When I worked in IKEA in Wales, I actually ran the design team, as you well know, and I really loved my job. I had a really good job. It was a really interesting job. it was a very physical job. I didn't have to sort of do all the things I did, but I wanted to do that because I was quite a hands-on person. But we, as you know, mate, we used to do a lot of big builds in the stores, and we had a huge big build on. We were actually rebuilding, I think it was dining rooms or something at the time. And I was sort of feeling reasonably tired, and I always had bags of energy. It sort of, nothing really phased us. But I was really tired, and I didn't quite understand why. And then just one evening or something, probably when I was in the shower or something, I sort of felt this lump. And really, bit silly, really. I didn't really think that much about it because I'd just joined a gym and I thought, oh, it's probably a muscle or something like that. And it went on for a few months, and then I went on holiday, and I was just sort of lying by the pool, and just I don't know what happened. I maybe just adjusting my costume or something, and then I felt the lump again, and I thought, oh, this is probably not good. So when I got back home, I thought, right, I'm going to have to go to the doctors. But to be honest with you, by then I kind of knew I had cancer. I don't know why, but I just did. And I went to see the doctor, and I can remember the doctor's name to this day. They called him Mr. Dr. Badger, believe it or not. And he was a lovely man. And it's not always the best thing when you have to get your bosoms out, in front of a male
In front
doctor.
of a badger.
Sorry?
In front of a badger.
In front of the badger. There is a joke in there somewhere, but I'm really trying to keep it clean, okay? So I want to say no, I can't even say that. He had a, good feel round and said, oh, I think we better send you off, Suzanne, to the hospital. And then sort of off I trot, and yeah, well, they did the biopsy there and then, and then they can tell straight away. And they said, and I said, I've got it, haven't I? And they said, yes. And basically it started from there, really. I was never frightened. I was never scared. I never thought I was going to die. I just had this belief that it would be all right. And I know that's not always the case, but I just did have a really, really, really strong belief that I would be all right. I had a very good friend who was a massive support, and her name's Alison, one of my best friends, and she actually was fantastic, and came to all the appointments and all that, because my husband would have done it, but it would have meant him taking time off. And at the time, I had a little boy. He was only 8, you know what I mean? And we wanted to keep everything sort of really on an even keel for him. We didn't want him to sort of feel scared about anything. But I sort of had something called a lumpectomy, where they take the lump away. I didn't lose a breast, which was great. But if I had to have my breast off, I couldn't care less, really. So I was 49 at the time, 49. And it was just sort of the year before my 50th birthday. So, I was determined to have a 50th birthday and survive that. And then I had, I think it was 6 months. I have to think now, because it's nearly 11 years ago. And I had 6 months of chemotherapy, and I had 2 weeks of radiotherapy. But I suppose there's a little bit breaking news, really. I've been to the doctors today because I've got another lump, which I've just found. But again, I'm not worried about it. I think it's just possibly this time it might just be a cyst or something like that. But what they do is they check you over and you're straight off to the hospital again. So hopefully everything's going to be all right. So again, I'm not worried about it. But what I think about is I've had 11 years with my family. I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't found it, and I wouldn't be here now. And I just think, there's 11 years that I've had fun and been on holiday and saw my son grow up, and and it's not sort of the death sentence that it used to be, you know, 30 years ago. I mean, you can, you survive these things, as you well know, Mike. Sometimes it's not a very pleasant experience, and some days you have really, I'm going to say this word, crap days. But at the end of it, you're still having time with your family and stuff like that. So I'm feeling all right about it.
Okay, one question. Did people treat you differently when they found out?
No, I would say I wouldn't let them, because what I did was, when I rang up, my sister was a bit, and I said, well, you need to cut that out because it's not happening to you. Just book up. If I need you, I'll give you thingy, which was a bit awful, really, because she probably, they were living where I lived, so it was probably a little bit hard for me to say that to them. But to be honest with you, I couldn't be bothered with people being upset about it, because I didn't feel like I needed them to be, which is silly, really, because it's that's their emotion, not mine. But I'm not very good with that kind of side of stuff. I'm quite matter of fact about things, which is probably my way of dealing with it. And I kind of prefer people to be that way. I mean, I spoke to her yesterday about finding the lump again, and this time she was all right about it. And she said, "Are you worried about it?" And I said, "Well, not particularly. No, I'm not particularly worried about it, because I know that, I'll be looked after whichever way it is. You know what I mean? So not." Photo. Did that photo flash up there? Will that have been on the screen?
So that was your sister, yeah?
See that again?
Was that your sister, the picture?
No, that's my cousin. That's her husband ran the television station that I used to be on, and it was called Chatty Lasses, and there was me and two other girls, and we just used to talk a load of rubbish, really, and they just used to have guests.
Swimming.
Sorry?
A bit like loose women.
Yeah, it was on that premise. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have anybody of, well, I don't want to say that, because there was some good guests on, but they were a right mixed bag. I was just one of the pundits. There was another girl who sort of used to get the people to come on, and I didn't even ask who was coming on. I just used to sort of chirp in every now and then. I used to laugh too much, and of course it was pre-recorded, and they used to have to stop it all the time, because, as you said, I do have a bit of a potty mouth, and you really obviously can't swear, but I did used to swear quite a lot on it, so I'm trying to behave myself.
You're doing very, very well.
Good.
I'm proud of you. I was a little worried.
What a cheek! I can't behave myself occasionally,
So back to your story. And it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, I can remember the day I came to visit you, and you did a little buffet. I always remember it.
God, I forgot about that.
And I've had a stroke.
I've got a terrible memory. God, Meg, I forgot all about that. God, isn't that... You see, the thing is, I can't remember anything about it, right? So I can't remember the people who came to visit. I can't remember at all. Alison, my friend's got a diary and she's got everything written down. But there's loads I can't remember. Like, I can't remember being ill with chemotherapy. I can't remember. So maybe that was sort of a kind of a coping mechanism. Do you know what I mean? But I tell you, this is be interesting for you. I was obviously ill in bed one day. I must have been struggling a little bit with the chemotherapy, and I can't remember taking drugs. I don't think I did. I probably just had painkillers and paracetamols. But I don't know if I've ever told you this. You know, you being married to a lady of the cloth, and I was lying in bed. Yeah, I know. You know, and there was a huge white light, right? And it was I would have said it was about 1.5 meters, and it was like oval shape, right? A really, really, really bright light. I mean, I don't think I was hallucinating. I mean, I could have been. Do you know what I mean? It could have been drug induced. And I mean medication drugs. I don't mean any other form of drugs, right? And I just had this really lovely feeling come over us, and I just knew I was going to be all right. And I actually think I was visited by somebody, but it could have been the drugs.
You didn't go towards the light because they say that's when you're on your way out, doesn't it?
Right. Well, actually, I had my fingertips were actually sort of gripped onto the bed, so I wasn't sucked into the tunnel. Do you know what I mean? So, but it was a weird experience. I've never had anything like it before, so possibly it was the drugs.
Because you don't have a faith, do you? Or do
Yes,
you?
I do. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, of course I have.
Are you?
Yes, and I used to go to church. I used to go even in Wales. I went to church when I first came down. But
priest had to work overtime with confessions for you.
Oh, I didn't bother with that, Loggy.
Right.
He didn't. It would have been a night shift.
How was your mental health during that time with cancer?
Well, I thought my mental health was all right, and it was because I'd survived, right? So I was kind of on a massive high because I'd survived cancer. But about a year and a half later, I kind of had to take time off work because I actually went down into a real depression. And I think that was just because I hadn't actually dealt with having cancer. And that was difficult. That was worse. I would say having mental health problems is worse than having cancer. Because with cancer, you know kind of what you're dealing with. With mental health illness, that's a different story altogether. Mental health illness creeps up on you, and you kind of really don't know what's happening to you. So I think this is going to sound really dreadful, but having cancer any day, I would have cancer rather than have mental health problems. So
we've got Janice Stevenson, who's a carer for her husband John, and she's just over the bridge in. Are you in South Shields or North Shields?
I'm in South Shields. Hello, Janice.
She's in North Shields, so she said, "Oh, a lovely Geordie accent."
Well, my friend lives in Walker Vale, so she'll know where Walker Vale is. It's her birthday tomorrow, Denny's birthday tomorrow. So, hello, Janice.
Yeah, mental health. You know, I begged them for something for my mental health when I was in hospital. And they said, why? A stroke does not affect your mental health. And so what I had to do, I had to write suicidal thoughts on my journal for them to take it serious.
Isn't that horrific? Why would they not think that because your life had so dramatically changed in a split second, why would they not think that you would have mental health problems? I would imagine that would be that would be top of the list for some, for people, because how
It's
could
a
you deal?
bereavement. It's a bereavement. You lose half your body.
What a fantastic way to put it, Mike. I think that really makes sense. It is a bereavement. You've lost that person that you were before, and you're never going to get that person back, not the way they were. So of course, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at Janice. um, so yeah,
It's
I think that.
Walkerville. It's Walkerville
Sorry.
posh. Have you got posh friends in Walkerville?
No. Well, I've got to say yes, of course it is, because hopefully people from Walkerville will be listening. Of course it's posh. But no, Mike, I knew that. Well, I'm laughing at something else, but I think that's a really good analogy of what could happen to you, because you lose yourself.
Well, I'm fighting back.
Uh-huh. So what?
I've had a stroke, a heart attack, sepsis, diabetes, and now they send a bloody pandemic to try and finish me off.
Do you mind
But
not swearing?
I've got my jab on Monday. I'm so pleased.
I know. Do you know what it is? All my mates, right, and people younger than me, can I say, have had the jab, and I was absolutely. I've gone in every day at work, and they've got, have you got your letter yet, Susan? I'm going, no, I haven't, and I'm flipping furious. I mean, I'm not really, that I'm sort of just. I'm so glad to have it. I'm so glad to have it, and I just think, please, everybody have this jab, because if you don't, people like you, Mike, won't be able to get out and have a life if people have to think that this is not just about them. It's about the people who are around them. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. Do you know what I mean?
So, without swearing, answer this question.
Mm.
What do you think about these anti-vaxxers and the conspiracy theories?
I can understand. I can understand people being scared, right? I can understand people being scared, but surely to God, it's much more scary to end up in a hospital not being able to breathe. And to think that there's people who are going in every day, sometimes 7 days a week, for months and months and months to look after these people. You've got to think of these people, these NHS workers who are going in, day out. And, these people are putting their lives on the line. They are actually doing this. They're doing this as a service. They don't get paid enough money. You don't get paid enough money to die. And they're going in every day to actually administer to these people who, if they don't do this, will die.
1% pay rise they're getting.
I know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I just don't know what to say about it. Do you know this thing as well about this? The daftest anti-vax thing I've heard, right, was that if they inject you, they've got things in the virus, that they can, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Well, I will not talk about him, because on another level, you've got to be careful what you say, because we're on one of his platforms probably. But the thing is, that they can track you. They can't track you by the virus. You know what they're tracking you by? The phone that you're using to look up these stupid anti-vaccination people. Do you know what I mean? They come off your phone, because that's how they're tracking you. They're not tracking you because you've got a nano blooming microchip going around your bloodstream. You know what I mean? What you've got is something going around your bloodstream that's actually going to save your life. It's going to save your life, and it's also going to allow people not to have to sit in their houses for another 3 months, 6 months,
I
9
wouldn't
months.
go. I couldn't do it anymore.
No, no, I'm sure you couldn't. I'm sure you couldn't. And it's not just
Somebody
that, mate.
asked
People
me if
like
you
you.
describe it. I said it's like solitary confinement.
Uh-huh. Well, you'd be proper. Well, you'd probably be better off in prison. You'd be looked after more.
I'd have company.
Yeah, exactly. You'd probably, yeah, you know what I mean. You'd probably be getting your physiotherapy. That no, you wouldn't. You shouldn't. No, I'm sort of joking about it, but I just think, and you know, there's a whole community of people who aren't going to, because of their families are stopping them. You know, Asian people, ethnic minorities, you know, who believe this rubbish, and there's going to be a whole generation of these people who we're going to lose in our society because their families are telling them not to have it. Do they not understand? You know, there's going to be all these people from you know, India and Pakistan and places like that, where their families are, you know, older people. We're going to lose these people. We can't afford to lose these people. They're part of being British, and we're losing all. We're going to lose a sort of a strata of people. We can't afford to do that. So, you know, I just think, please, 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 take your families, go and have this virus. Please do it for everybody, and especially for these people. You know, the need to have. We can't afford to lose anybody else. We just can't.
So Naomi, who's a caregiver for her husband, they both had their vaccine in America.
Brilliant. They've had it. You said they've
Yeah.
had it. Great, great. And I mean, can you imagine? You know, America. How many people? They're over. Is it? Are they up to? Are there up to 500,000 people? It's probably more than 500,000 people. You know, how's that happened? How's that happened? You know, it's the greatest nation on earth, and you know, this is what's happened to them. You know, it's just horrendous. It's horrendous. So I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, it's fine. I mean, we can't go into politics, but
No.
um,
Yeah.
you're just a number. I mean, I'm not moaning. I've got to go 10 miles to get my vaccination. You know, I've got to centre 5 minutes in my mobility scooter. You know, it doesn't make sense. And I know
Same thing's
Janice,
happened to me. Same thing's happened to me. I can go down the street and have it, but now I've got to go. It's not as far as you. It's about 3.5 miles away, which is nothing really. But now I've got to go to a huge big Nightingale Centre in Washington. Well, they're doing them down the street, but
not
I
Washington,
don't.
America.
No, not in America. The real Washington, the actual Washington, where Washington came from, where George Washington's. Shall I have to give you a bit of a history lesson now? Where George Washington's ancestors lived. That actually.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, they
Up
came
north,
from Washington. Sorry.
up north where you live.
Yeah, they came from Washington in the northeast. I think it's his probably great grandfather or something. But they went off to America. Well, it might have been his great grandfather. But there's a Washington Hall, I think, and that's where his family were from before they went off to America. So the real Washington is in the northeast of England. So there you go.
Well, Janice says they've got to go to Durham and Sunderland because,
Yeah,
and they've got a centre 10 minutes walk away. But they tried
yeah.
to send them to Georgie Washington. Georgie Washington. I love Janice.
Oh, right. To Geordie Water, right. Yeah, well, that's where I've got to go, Janice. I've got to go to Geordie Washington to have it done. But it is only up the A19, which is just 3 miles away. But I could have just gone a mile down the street. But do you know what it is? I don't care. I would crawl over hot coals, swallow razor blades, poke my eyes out with a stick, and prostrate myself on the A19 to have my jab. So I don't
Right.
care.
We're coming to the end now. But there's one big question I ask all
Yeah.
my guests. If we were making a Hollywood film, who would play you?
Meryl Streep.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Actually, can I not just play myself? I have been on television. I could play myself.
I think you'd be a diva.
I'd be divine.
Right, Susie, I think you're an inspirational person. So thank you for being on my show.
You're more than welcome, and you're an inspiration as well, Mike. Take care. I love you. Speak to you soon.
Bye, Angel. Bye. Well, thank you, everybody. And I'll be back next Friday. So take care. God bless. Love you loads. Bye.